Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tom and Jerry Show with myself, Jerry McBride, and himself, Tom the Bear O'Mahony. How are you keeping, Tom?
I'm good. Nice and professionally in there. No
I
arsing
gotta tell
around it.
you,
Yeah, I like that.
that's how most shows start now. Normally, we start with 10 to 15 minutes of waffle, and then we're like, "Oh, by the way, the name of the show is this," in case you haven't heard.
You're back on the caffeine, so
It has to be said, Tom, that I had to back up that truck a little bit and fill it up with black gold.
because people listening, Jerry looks like a new man.
I'm fresh as a daisy.
Last week he had a look at that fella that opened the Ark of the Covenant in the end of Indiana Jones. He was like just jonesing for some coffee.
Shook like a handed mass, I believe is the phrase, Tom. But no, I will say I'll be man enough to admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong to stop drinking caffeine, Tom.
I tried to tell you that, but look, thankfully you did listen. You got back on the wagon or got off the wagon, the old caffeine wagon.
You
You're
gotta,
giving
you
up
gotta,
coffee
you,
or
you,
tea.
you gotta get to these places yourself, Tom. How are you doing yourself? It's a hell of a summer we're having, Tom. Don't you know?
Oh, suffering God. I have to apologize. Two different people messaged about my hand rubbing rustle. Between myself and Jerry, we could hear my hands rustling into the mic last week,
Oh, I.
but it didn't really come out. I tried to crank it up a bit. If you really listen carefully, you can listen to the ridges of my hands. People are like, I need this for context. I can only apologize. I'll send you an MP3. It was pretty epic. They're not too bad today, although they are not clean, Jer. I can only,
I
they're not clean.
I apologize for nothing, Tom. Get better earphones is what I tell people. Uh, but it's a hell of a summer, Tom. It is. We picked a hell of a year to start podcasting, buddy. Um, the news is coming thick and fast this week, and we had our pick of sporting events. England got beaten in the finals of the Euros. Womp womp. The tennis is rocking and rolling, and I'm still with tennis, Tom. I'm like, I'll stand here and ask you straight to your face: is Pete Sampras still playing?
I'll be
Like,
honest with you there. I couldn't hold my hand up and say whether. My only bit of sport was I caught the second half of the rugby, and it was the most violent thing you would see outside of the Thunderdome. There was South Africans split, pumping blood, pissing, all sorts in every direction. It was tremendous. Ireland won it in the last second. Roy the Rover stuff, and that was me done. I didn't need any more after that. I didn't need to
out of
see him.
curiosity, Tom, and I know I said let's not waffle this
Why?
podcast, Tom.
Why?
I said
Why?
let's not waffle this week, but here we are.
Yeah.
Is there a rugby
Is
Roy of the
there?
Rovers? Who is rugby's Roy of the Rovers?
There isn't. Well, it's right now an actual real one.
Or even like a cartoon or a
No,
long-standing
there
comic
isn't.
or
And I
comic strip?
think I think you may have just tapped into something there. There isn't.
No.
Paul Williams, I think he wrote, was it Paul Williams? No. I don't know who wrote along with former rugby player Gordon Darcy. They wrote a lovely book about how a kid can learn about team spirit and all the rest of it. And it's kind of magical. It's nearly like the Harry Potter of rugby, a couple of books, something
Okay.
about. But no, I think you're onto something there. I think
Like
you're.
so there's no textbook Roy of the Rovers for okay, well let's not just give away the keys to the farm.
What would the bar taste like? Do you remember the bars? God, no, God, I can't. No, don't go down this route, Tom. We'd be into nostalgic sweets all of a sudden, and
Yeah.
that will just open a whole can of worms.
Remember Dan Bars. We all remember Dan Bars, but like I say, Tom, we had a whole pile of news this week to pick from Wimbledon and the Tour de France. We might get back to that next week. We've been saying for a couple of weeks we're going to cover the Tour de France. Here's the thing: Tour de France appears to be 16 weeks long, so it's in no rush anywhere.
We're all
Okay,
right.
we
We're all
we'll
right.
get to it. Don't you worry. But that's not the big news this week. We have to talk about a very specific piece of big news this week, and no better segment to do that, Tom, other than the segment that we call the Weekly What Have You.
This is a very complicated case, Maud. You know, a lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of what have yous, and a lot of strands to keep in my head, man. You know.
Oh my God. Do you know what? The weeks and America is just getting odder and odder to the point where they're saying, sure, look, there is aliens. And we're right now, we're going, okay, all right, sure. That's another weird thing out of America. The world is that mad, but America especially. And former president, I think you're supposed to call him still president, Donald Trump nominee, he damn near got, well, he got he got a bit of weight dropped off him by a bullet, skinned right by the man's ear.
He got Garden of Gethsemane. You know what I mean? He got his
Yeah,
ear cut off. Yeah.
yeah. He got a clip of a bullet, which not a nice thing to happen to anybody.
Do you know what? My resting gear on it is this, Tom. Okay, the you know immediately people said, don't shoot your political opponents because if you can't beat them in a debate, then,
Yeah,
don't shoot them. Okay. And then it's like, I'm like, okay, yeah, don't shoot political opponents, but also not for nothing, don't shoot old men.
that's a valid point. Like
And
I
then
don't.
not for nothing as well, Tom, I'm gonna tell you. How about this? Don't shoot anybody.
Yeah, that's a really good. Do you know what? Message for the podcast. Don't shoot
Don't
anybody.
shoot
It's not
anybody.
nice. It's not nice. But look, we're not a political podcast. We're a good
No.
crack podcast, and we're not going to get into the weeds on whether what happened or how it happened or where your man's gone or what is it.
We're pretty certain by the time this drops on Thursday that people will have heard nothing but 90 straight hours of Trump getting shot at in a field in Pennsylvania, wasn't it?
Pennsylvania, I believe. Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's there for Groundhog Day, had a couple of flags with him. A bullet whizzed past him and clipped him on the ear. If you want to go with the official narrative there. Nope, not that kind of podcast, Tom. I actually did hear that how he got clipped was that it hit the teleprompter machine, which is a glass screen in front of you, and the glass flew off and hit him on the ear. Either way, someone's trying to cap an 80-year-old man. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And whatever
Yeah.
you think about Trump, and I don't think much of him myself, Tom, I don't know about you, but like at the same time, don't shoot no old men, okay?
No,
Don't shoot
no,
anybody.
don't be shooting anybody. Don't be shooting anybody. But Jared
It
made a
got us
valid.
thinking, Tom. It got us thinking.
Yeah, we got us thinking that through our time, and some of them maybe not the smartest things, or just by pure bad luck, we've had a couple of near misses ourselves in our time.
We've
Now,
had a couple, and
I've
it
never
is
run
by
for
the
the US
grace of
presidency.
God and fools, Tom, that we are here podcasting right now.
It's true. It's true. And when I've said it to people, like the amount of folk I talk to that they'll think they've had near misses and stuff. And I suppose there's a potential for a near miss every day. Do you know what I mean? You know,
Tomorrow's not promised.
the frozen yolk out of the frozen jacks. What do they chuck out of? Out of
The blue ice out of the side
the
of the
blue
plane.
ice out of the side of the plane.
Yeah.
That could kill you. Do you know what I mean? There could be somebody just fall out a window and land on you, and they survive, and you're squished. All these things could potentially happen, but they're not verifiable. Myself and Jerry have had some moments where you're like, "Are you kidding me?" And in my older years, thinking back now, I absolutely shudder at the notion that, good God Almighty, what were you doing?
That was a close one.
That was a shave. That was a
So
shave.
here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, using Trump's near miss in Pennsylvania as a jumping off point. We're going to give you the nearest we've come to death. We might have, I got to tell you, Tom, we might have survived them, but I got to tell you, we came close, incredibly close to death or serious injuries. And numerous times across our lives, and we've just picked one. Maybe someone will shoot at Trump again in a couple of weeks and we can do a part two. I don't know.
Jared, I'll be honest with you. When you said it to me, I went, which ones do you want? And he was like,
which
maybe
near miss do you want?
Which we should probably narrow it down, Tom, to at least one.
Well, Tom, do you mind if I give you mine first? And that's not me jumping the gun or anything like that. It's just I feel mine is.
Did you jump the gun?
Did I jump the gun? Don't mention shooting. I feel like mine's going to be more sedate than yours.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it is. So I used to work in this place. It was a hardware shop, and it had the roller up doors. Okay, so do you know the garage doors? If anybody's ever had the pleasure of these things, and these things the chain of it hit me in the face more times if you weren't watching what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, what you do if you're not familiar with it, it's like a roll up garage door, and there was a chain that you had to pull. In a cow milking motion that would put the door up.
That's what Jerry's doing right now. He's milking a one-uddered cow, a single and uno-uddered cow.
Exactly. And the roller door itself was about 20 feet tall. Okay, because if I was forgetting forklifts in it, it was a real big tall roller door. And on occasion, Tom, it would kick off the guides. It would kick out of the tracks.
Yep.
It got old, it got battered, it would kick out of the tracks. You're with me so far.
You do it yourself when you get a bit old, a bit battered, you kick out of the tracks as well. Sure, look at it. It can happen to the best of us. I don't hold anything against that door. So
the first time it happened to me, I wasn't aware of the procedure of getting it back into the tracks. And I was locking up, and it was, I'll never forget, it was 6 o'clock of a Saturday night. I was only about 17, and I wanted to go to hell home, okay? And here's this thing kicked off the tracks. Down the line, Tom, it got to be that I knew that you roll it back up, you roll it down, you roll it back up, and inch by inch, it kicks itself back into tracks. Think about getting the chain back on a bike.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't know what was going on. So I felt like I had to climb up the
Oh,
um
Jesus.
right. No, we're not even near it here, Tom. Okay, climb up the pallets of slabs.
Yeah,
Remember our pallets from last year, our old,
yeah.
last week, our old friends, the pallets. Climb up the pallets of slabs, get up to where the gear is at the top, where the rolling is happening, and sort of force the thing back
Back
into the
onto its
track.
guide. Yeah,
Okay. And
yeah.
I had nothing to hand to force it back in. So this was a hardware shop. The great thing about working in a hardware shop, you need a tool, just one on the shelf.
There's loads.
So I ran up and I got myself a 30-inch nail bar.
Good man.
Okay. Which is 30 inches long. It's a nail bar. We've talked about pry bars and jockey bars before. You with me so far, everybody?
It's the hexagon shaped bar. If you look down it, if it was cut
Yes.
cross sections, and at one end it's curly, and at the other end it's just got a little peaked off with a split in the middle of it for getting out nails.
It's what your man in Half-Life would kill aliens with.
But okay, I'm going to take your word with it.
You're going to take my word for that.
Mm-hmm.
6 or 8 people in the audience are like, I know exactly what you're talking about. And all told in your hands weighs, roughly speaking, 10 kilos. So it was the big one, okay?
Oh, that's a hefty bastard.
You
If it's 10
know,
kilos,
maybe
yeah,
not
yeah.
even 10 kilos, but you feel it in your hands. And I went up and I pried and I shimmied and I jucked around and I messed around with the thing to get it back on the track. And eventually got it kind of back on track, I guess. But then when you're rolling the door, it would kind of kink. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be up and down here all day. I'm not going to be climbing up and down the pallets with a pry bar. I'm just going to leave it at the top here, okay?
Huh.
Now,
How many feet up?
this is about 20 feet up.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Terminal
And
velocity is at about 16 foot. So yeah, okay.
yes, and I was only a young fella at the time, so I was only maybe about 4 foot tall. So, right?
There you go.
And Tom, like, if anybody is seeing this come together like a scene out of Final Destination,
Oh, I 100% am. I 100% am.
like that is literally what it is. But I was the orchestrator of all this.
Eh.
Who did it to you, Jerry? I did it to myself.
Like you're just short of driving a forklift, full of giant vampire-looking steaks, all pointed directly at you. But for some reason, you do it up a ramp, and they.
Oh, right. You know, this is like, I'm just going to stand here while someone hauls paling posts up a hill, right?
Good God.
So I go back down and the roller door is coming back down. Handier now this time because
Okay.
it is back in it, but it needs to sort of seat itself a little bit. So basically what I'm saying is it's coming down in a chucking motion, okay? It should go up
Oh
and down
yeah.
smooth.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But what it's doing is it's kind of bunching up a bit and then it'll fall by about 18 inches and then it'll bunch up again and it'll fall down another wee bit.
Oh, this is not getting good.
And as this is happening, unbeknownst to me, the pry bar at the top on the girder above the roller door is just inching over and over and over and over. And eventually, as it would naturally do, it falls and it falls in a javelin motion straight down. And who's underneath it? One half of the Tom and Jerry Show podcast.
What bit of you did? Why did it whiz by your what?
It whizzed by me, Tom, and it hit the concrete between my 2 feet. Like, so I just watched this thing in slow motion just go past my nose, like straight down like a dart. And it went bang, and it made the big noise. But still, all in my head was thinking was like, oh God, like I have to go home and have a shower and like be back into town to go to the Fiddlers to go drinking
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
on Saturday night.
Of course.
And
Of
it
course.
never even registered with me that 8 pounds of pointy steel, 8 kilos of pointy steel was after falling 20 feet and nearly like that would have went straight into the top of my head.
I'll tell you right now, any bit of
Right?
that, I've been hurt by them just by looking at them. Any
Right?
bit, and a brand new one as well. None of the edges, none of the corners on the bit,
Nothing smoothed off.
like if that grazed even
Factory sharp.
the outside of your hand, that's a stitch. That's 20 stitches. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, oh Jesus Christ!
Hits you in
Even
the
if it came
shoulder,
down,
your
if it came
shoulder's gone
down
for you.
parallel to the ground, you know what I mean? It came down horizontal rather than vertical, bonking you any which way. It's breaking.
Oh yeah,
Whatever it's hitting.
yeah. By grace of God, if it had fallen like lengthways, it would have got me.
This is heated steel. Like this stuff is absolutely ready to like ridiculously dense. It's
Yeah.
going to
Do you know, like it's got a lot of nicknames, Tom, but you know what it's not called? It's not called a penicillin bar.
No, no. Oh, Jesus
And
Christ.
I think that's the closest near miss that I've had that I care to talk about in public. But goddamn.
Oh God, yeah, like
So
I
what you
can.
got, buddy?
That was vivid enough. Now I can get into that, and again, I had to root through the old memory bank and go, oh, did I talk about this before? Did I? Because I mean, everybody heard about it. Was the most dramatic one. I think that I was a definite near miss. I remember told you about the piece of corrugated iron that took off like a plane. Yeah.
Yes.
I told you. I think I told you about the time I was, we were standing in a big giant pond of water. The digger was, and he hit the 10,000 volt mains to Douglas Village, lit up the whole thing to the point that he melted a whole 4 inch hole in his bucket. Um, no, we'll go back to the workplace, but we'll go back to the pig farm where I spent, I think I spent four years there between weekends and summers and stuff like that. And to give anybody context to this, it isn't Babe. I'll tell you
Right.
that. It ain't Babe.
No.
This was, for the want of a better phrase, it was a factory farm. Like there was 10,000 animals on this thing. Like, and now they have roaming around space much more and stuff like that. But back then, not so much. It was not a great environment. It would make
This is easily 20 years ago, right?
oh, more. It was probably 24 years ago, I would say.
Gotcha.
And it would make a rough bloke of you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It took
Yeah,
it's
it
taken
has clearly done that, Tom.
No, I'm much softer than I was. Oh Lord, to the point that I shudder at the notion of even stepping foot in the place. I don't know how I'd handle it, but there's one particular Sunday morning, again a Sunday morning jobby, and
Yeah.
they had how do you make pigs? They make pigs from beginning to end in this place. They don't just buy them in, rear them like a lot of places do. They have males on site, very virile, big bastards, and their job is to go out and be brought to each one of these, lady pigs, and they ride, and she produces. Here, fun fact: did you know that a pig, if in farmed environment, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days to the day, bang, will have anything up to 14 piglets at a time.
3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days.
Yep, and
All the
on the
time.
money all the time. Anyway,
Okay. I got to tell you, Tom, your final destination scene here is a lot coming together a lot different than mine.
yeah, but this one particular morning, I'm there by myself and I'm feeding these and whatnot, and I didn't realize that they'd gotten a new boar. All of them
Okay.
kind of knew me. They had 6 of these guys, and they had a lot of work to do. But they'd gotten a new guy. They brought him in. This guy probably stood. If you imagine, the boars you see in like the Black Forest and stuff like that,
Yeah.
the big. This guy stood. His back was probably at about 4.5 foot. Yeah,
Okay.
he was probably weighing in about 50 to 60 stone. He was a unit.
And I got to tell you, Tom, and not to pause you there or anything like that, but when you say a pig, you're like, haha, a pig. When you
No,
say a boar,
a boar.
a boar is like all of a sudden, you have my interest now, my
Yeah.
man. You have my full attention.
And typically, these lads have their tusks trimmed back, as you would with cattle and stuff like that. This guy was brand new. He'd been bought in from someplace. Supposed to be hot shit. I don't know. He'd had his tusks still on. And they have a caged unit, where they're allowed to roam around, stuff like that. He had worked out during the night how to lift his straight off because the gate's straight off his cage.
Right. Because
And
pigs are smart.
smart. Oh, and when they have when they have giant hooks growing out of their face, they can learn how to hook a gate and lift it straight off the hinges.
I told you before, Tom, I don't like animal maulings here, buddy. So like I'm actually getting really anxious right here now. I know I'm talking to you unless I'm talking to a ghost, but go on.
Now you walk into this sliding door garage shed, and you slide it back, and you slide it back immediately, just in case one of the girls is loose or whatever out of her pen. She can't get out. So that's the
Yes.
thing. Now, this is where it gets interesting. There'd been a problem with this door. It kept on latching on the outside. If you hit
Okay.
it, if you threw it back too hard, you ended up being locked in there.
I've been in a situation
Yeah,
where
you know what I'm.
yeah,
Yeah, and it should have been
yeah.
fixed a long time previous.
Like,
But it's not the end of the world. You walk way down the end. There's kind of a half door thing you can climb out, and it's a pain in the ass. But here's the problem between me and that door. This big bastard was
Tom.
in the middle of the footpath, staring straight at me. The sound a boar can make when he's not happy with your presence would absolutely shake you down to your core. Like, I'm not even going to do it justice to try and do it, but this thing is straight out of hell. Like, straight out of hell. And he, at 4.5 foot, and I'm maybe 15, 16 years of age, he's taller than me. If he wants for a second, he can just jump
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
Like, but this lad starts making a move towards me. And I'm going, I can't get the door up. I'm with my back to the door. I can't get it open. There's no windows. There's pig pens all around me. And to get straight down the straight path that's about 150 meters long, he's in the way. Oh my Jesus. Then he starts, he's about 30 meters back.
I'm like,
away.
okay, bring me up to, give me a crash course on boars, Tom. Are they fast?
Very fast.
Are they
Very.
maneuverable?
They can turn. They can really turn, Jer.
Okay.
They want now. They can't jump and climb like a lion. But
Oh,
my
well,
God,
that's something.
that's something. But if they get hold of you, they'll break your back.
Oh,
Simple as that. I mean,
and
he'll go.
then they'll hurt you.
Then they'll go, and then they'll eat you.
Yeah.
And they'll eat you, bones and all. My good God, at this stage I hadn't actually panicked. I was like, shit, who's this guy?
God.
Jesus Christ!
And
Then
it's a Sunday.
yeah, and it's a Sunday. Then he starts galloping. He's coming for me, and he can see that I can't get anywhere. He wants me out of there, or he wants to fuck me up. I don't know. No other choice. I climb straight over the top of him as he comes at me. I couldn't do it. You know those fail videos you see so often on the internet where lads are going to jump over a car coming at them at 10 or 15 miles an hour?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
all get clipped by the windscreen. They get smashing their face, roll over I couldn't do this Jackie Chan move if I tried 150,000 more times. But as he came at me, I ran at him and just rolled straight over the top of him and kept sprinting. And out the back door, roaring laughing that I couldn't believe he was such a stupid pig.
It's that exact emotion where like it takes you to later in the day, or maybe even takes you until someone says it to you. Hey, don't you realize what just happened there?
Yeah. Because apparently, like, this guy, the plan was to actually bring in the vet to cut down those tusks. Nobody was supposed to go near him. The message wasn't relayed. He was an absolute savage. He needed to be calmed down with a couple of women, and that was going to calm him down. It tends to work. Once they get a couple of lady folk into their system, they're like, all right, this is going to be.
That's not just pigs either now, Tom.
No, it's true. No, this is why they're so close to humans. You know what I mean? It's just this settles them down. But I mean, I rolled, and we're talking. He could be 8 foot long, 7 foot, 8 foot long. I rolled and rolled over this guy. Now, you won't, like, if I tried it a million times over a static table in the exact same shape of that guy, I'd at some point roll off the side. I'd bonk my head off it.
Yeah.
I would, like, the way I did it, I don't, in my mind's eye, I'm like, how in Christ's name did I get over this guy? Like,
but then, Tom, like, you had another 100-meter dash.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
After that.
Now it's a narrow path, and he took his minute but he turned and came after me. But I'm like roaring laughing. I'm in wellies now, I ain't Usain Bolt. I'm in wellies.
All right, so you're not even in your underarm or sprint gear.
And I mean, I got to get to these big, rusty 10 mil thick, heavy iron doors that are split door. You got to, those doors that nobody greases them up because you just know it takes you 20 seconds to get the things open. Record time. Still, it took a good, like 7 or 8 of those to get it open. And and this fella's doing this noise jar coming down the path. Like, it sounds kind of like
yeah.
Like,
it sounds Jurassic Parky.
Do you remember that thing? Do you remember Jeepers Creepers? Your man would come
Yeah.
It was like this, like a bear mixed with a fucking gun. Like, this guy just come like almost.
I can't be doing with it, Tom. I mean, it's great that you're still
sweaty
here.
hands thinking
But
about it. But I couldn't wait to tell the lads about it. I knew they wouldn't get the full appreciation of it because they had no grasp. And when I told the other guys on the pig farm, Like they're so, some of them were dead inside anyway. When they spoke to you, they were like, whatever, man, I don't care. I'm just trying to get through my day, whatever. I don't. Like you could honestly tell them that your hair went on fire just magically and you'd get nothing out of these
Yeah.
guys. They were just like,
They'd be like, it's a pity you weren't killed. We would have got another smoke break or something now.
yeah, it was shut. No, there was no fanfare. Like even when I told my friends, they were like, well, I don't understand. We're 16, 15, 16. We don't understand what you're saying to us because most of my friends were like village and town dwellers. So when you're trying to explain this to them, going, all right, I guess I'll put that in the back of my memory. And it arrived somewhere back in my mind. I mean, during a documentary about, savage beasts or whatever. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, one of those, he could have ripped my leg clean off. Oh,
There you
Jesus
go.
Christ. So that was one of the many, but I just thought it.
Well, we will
One
have
I
to
don't
we
think
will
I've
have to
told you.
revisit this, Tom, because I gotta tell you, there's good. Keep them coming to me, buddy. Keep them
Oh,
coming. Um, what about the rest of the you fine folks of the Tom and Jerry listenership? Have you had an accident at work that was clearly your fucking fault? That's what we
or
want
even
to
in
hear
the
about.
even in the home place,
Even in
stupid
the home place,
shit,
wherever it was. What's your near miss? Okay, if
stupid
you can
shit.
if you can beat getting trampled by one feral hog or nearly impaling yourself from the head down with a pry bar that you put up there,
Huh?
let us know in the comments. How
Eh,
about that? How about that? How about that, Tom? And listen, I'm gonna tell you now, okay? Like I say at the start of the show, we had our man Trump there, who, we're duty bound to wish a speedy recovery to, I suppose.
yeah,
Uh and the lad that shot him, uh, may his God go with him, he's not with us anymore. He's a lad.
he is a
Hate to
lad.
say it. He was a young lad. Uh so he was possibly a candidate for this week's This Lad, but no.
No, not
You don't
really.
just you don't just do something simple like try and assassinate one of the most famous people on God's green earth and be this lad. Because you got to do something special if you want to get into the category of this
This
lad.
lad.
Now there's that guy.
Yeah, it's there's sometimes things, Jerry, where I suggest to Jerry, every so often, or I think maybe that's the thing that people will want to listen to. And then I kind of go, there's a reason why myself and Jerry do this podcast. It's because we like stuff. And we just hope that it's like we will not bow to the to any master.
Yeah, the
It's
the
stuff
um
that
the
interests us. And I weirdly, Jerry, thankfully there's people that kind of go along with us and go,
well,
that's
to
pretty
that point,
interesting.
Tom, to your point, I want to say that this week's This Lad was actually submitted by one of the listeners.
Brilliant. Oh,
Yeah,
I
how
was
about
wondering how
that?
you found him.
Oh no, it came through on the Instagram. Michal Doroscha. I hope I'm
Oh,
not butchering that name. Michael Doroscha? Michal?
Mijo.
Couple of photos in there, so I'm gonna go with Michal. Any rate, sent us a clip of what turned out to be this week's This Lad. And we've always said that this lad can be this lady, it can be this dog, it can be this feral hog, it can be whatever it is. And as it was last year, it was a scary robot. So it can be a machine. And I hate to do it twice in a row, Tom, but it's a machine this week as well.
It is, and it is like it's what struck me for the demo video of this thing was the seriousness of your man. Do you know what I mean?
We're gonna. Do you know what? I know I think I know exactly what you're going to say, Tom. And we're going to get into this, but like before we start rambling about it, we're just going to tell the fine folks of the Tom and Jerry show what this machine is. This machine that Michal sent to us, it is called a geotrencher.
Which, for anybody wondering, I don't know where the geo comes from, like, but it's
Well,
a
geo means
trench.
ground, right?
Well, a terra means ground. I guess it is. Yeah,
It
yeah,
is
yeah. I guess.
geography.
But I mean, if it's a trench, it's a trench. Like, and
Yeah, you're not
trenches
going to.
typically,
Yeah, you're not putting a trench in the sky. That's a good point, Tom.
it's a trenches typically happen in the ground, and essentially what this thing is, more so, I was enamored by your man's level of seriousness and how, like, he was. There's no like, hey, check out this cool yoke. The man had his strapping on. He had everything. It's like a giant chainsaw. And where the normal teeth would be, the chain of teeth would normally be, are big they're bigger like little L brackets for all the world.
Yeah.
And so it is just a giant,
It
giant
is
chainsaw.
as
And
best as I could describe it, Tom. It's a chainsaw for the ground.
yeah,
If
but
you
it's
ever felt like you needed to chainsaw the ground, but just didn't have $3,000 to do so, well, boy, let me tell you, Has Airman de Rostia found the machine for you?
Well, I tell you what it is it doesn't serve the same purpose. If you're chainsawing something, you don't care about the trench you're cutting. You would just want to get down the item you're cutting, whether it's a tree. But this is for, I'm guessing, laying cable, laying pipe very thinly along the ground. And it's, I mean, the irony and the coincidence that it is today of all
Well,
days for
very
me.
funny about it because I proposed this to Tom last week, and lo and behold, what he was doing today was laying a trench. Now we're not talking about World War II trenches or World War One trenches. Although, Tom, side note, I knew a guy up Airway, and we were in the farmhouse one day, and I goes, "Oh, what's that machine over there?" And he goes, "Oh, that's a trencher from World War One that he had just come into ownership of."
What did it look like?
Honestly, it looked like a whacker plate. You know what who am I talking to?
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
a whacker plate?
Yeah.
But if you it was about the size of like say two whacker plates, one on top of each other. And it had like a handle like a plow. So I guess you just walk behind it and then Jerry, not me, the Germans just like shot your 16-year-old ass from 100 yards away.
How was that to dig trenches?
I
Or
didn't ask. And I
right?
was not allowed to have a go at it. I don't think I
Ah. So essentially what this thing does is you get it going in the ground, you pull start it. It's exactly as you imagine, a giant
it
chainsaw.
looks like Cuchulain's chainsaw.
Yeah. And then you sink it into the ground, get your trench started, and then you go off and the video is amazing. This guy is so serious and the close-ups of him putting on the clips and the straps and you hang it off yourself, but you kind of set a set of wheels under it so you can walk it.
There are two elements to it, okay? And if I'm looking at it right, Tom, I think what you're supposed to do is like cut one strip into the ground and then cut another strip 6 inches across from it, and then just shuck that loose and dig that out, and then you have like your 6 inch trench.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So this doesn't seem to me, straight away, I'm going to be honest with you, it doesn't seem to me like 3 grand well spent.
I mean, it strikes me as a yoke you do use only the once. Because
It's a very specific person that wants this. But it's also like, and we do say it's kind of like a chainsaw for the ground. It's a chainsaw for the ground. It's a big, massive, comically oversized Marvel's the Hulk sized chainsaw.
to the point that you can stick wheels under it and drag
Right?
it up the
Well,
field.
that's the thing. That's the thing. It's shown in the video demonstration being used in two ways. Number one, a guy clips it to himself, like with a harness. So he's got this sort of uh flight vest on, I guess, if you want to call it that, and he clips all this sort of thing onto him so that he can walk and he's not taking the full strain of it. Now you know exactly when the camera stopped rolling, he's taking all that stuff off.
For 100% sure he is. For
I'm
a
not
100,
wearing this.
he won't. The earmuffs won't have been found.
No,
The cool sunglasses, goggles won't be anywhere
no,
near him.
no, and he's not nothing strapped and nothing. So you can carry it yourself, okay? So it's like old painless. It's like old painless for the ground, right? So you can carry it, or as Thomas said to it here, you can also buy a separate, like a cart for it, a trolley
Yeah,
for
a
it.
trolley to go under it and
So now
drag it
you
up the
now you've
field.
made it like it looks more like a lawnmower. It looks more like a.
What do you think you'd use it for? Because I could only imagine if, like, when I look at things like this, I imagine two things. Would you use it more than once? Could you use it professionally? Like, I suppose
This is a professional tool. You want to make a return on this one, I think.
I suppose if somebody needed a bit of water pipe and brought down the field, you'd do a bit of it. Now, farmers have a thing called a mole plow. I don't know if you've seen one. You can put big coil of water piping on the back of your tractor, and it just kind of guides it in with a little hook into the ground, and one little plow into the ground and leaves it behind.
I get you. That kind of smushes it in. Yeah, yeah.
And,
Okay,
and
I
it's
can do
done.
that.
It's one and done. You drive and the pipe goes to the ground. This guy obviously can rock up to lawns and stuff. He could put out maybe sprinkler systems. He could put out, I guess, like if you needed a tap down the end of your lawn, this fella could rock in. But I can tell you right now, that fucking yoke is overheating. Like it's eating ground. That yoke the picture showed him about 100 meters long. He stopped 15 times for fag breaks during that. I'm telling you now, that yoke is roasting.
If you look at it, Tom, there's like a second bar to it. Now we've never held this in our hands, folks. It got to be said. We're just in awe of it. Like,
I want to go. I want to go.
I want to go. Yeah. If you look at it, there's another bar to it that I couldn't say what it was for, but I can only imagine that would be hooked to a hose that would keep the blade of it cool, like a console.
Yeah, best of luck with that. Best of
Best
luck.
of luck.
It's not the saw I'm bit worried about, it's the engine. Like, I don't care what you have. But I've seen versions of these yokes. Do you ever go through, like, the random reels on Instagram? And there's
Oh yeah.
always Asian lads up to something gas. Do you know what I mean? They've, I love them. They will modify anything to make a
To
plow
get it going, yeah.
to get it going. And I've seen these old yokes on the backs of motorbikes that are cutting trenches in the ground that you're applauding these lads. It's probably going to kill one of them at some stage because the cut of the yoke. But like, I
Oh,
love
do you ever never watch those videos, Tom, and wonder why it's not the same lad using it at the end as it was at the start? So
well,
you can rest in peace, that guy.
I know exactly why, because I lived alongside a couple of MIT students when I lived in Boston, and they used to knock on our door for us to trial the mad jokes that they'd come up with because they were all a bunch of nerds, but they were good crack lads. And then one day they came up and they had a rally chopper that or something equate. It was like an old Schwinn, but a fake one. They found it in a
Okay.
bin, straightened it out, and put a leaf blower engine on it, and ran it straight down to the front wheel. And they wanted to know if one of us would give it a go. And I mean, we had to fight each other to get at it.
Right.
Do you know?
Yes.
I got on it first. Thing should have killed me 17 times over. But, it was because
You were emboldened by your pig vaulting.
Nothing was a challenge after that. But what I'm saying is, I love a bit of ingenuity. The only thing, and one of many things I will ask myself is, yes, it is this lad, and the lad bringing it is also this lad. But I can tell you one thing. If you landed onto a job with that thing, they're not going, look at this lad. They're going to go, look at this bollocks. I'm sorry, Cher. While I'd love a go of it, there's no way I'm landing into a professional outfit with that joke, especially if he brought it up to my place today, because the rocks to earth ratio that man dug out today.
This is okay. So Tom, you were without a geo trencher
I was
today.
without, and
You had a trench to dig to
I
the
had
ESP cable, was it, or what was it?
150 meters of 5-inch ducting to go in
Right.
today, and the rocks that came out, old geo trencher would have just went. That's the sound it would have made. That's it. Fuck it in the
That's
bin. That's gone. Gone.
I guess, like, you got to take it in a ground by ground basis, because the geo trencher, when we were looking at it, it looks to be just cutting through like topsoil in
Oh, I'm telling
a
you now,
nice little
where
Arizona desert or whatever.
where it would
Whereas
have worked.
Tom's at the base of the Galtee Mountains here.
Yeah. There's glacial rocks looking back at it. They would have just chewed it up, spat it into the bin, and that'd have been the end of it. But again, if I would have loved, like, your man, if I pulled that out of the boot of the car and went, do you want me to have a go?
Rin rin. And
Like,
we're like,
it's
yeah,
really
go
big.
on, have a go.
In chainsaw circles, it's really big. And if you turned up to a tree with a thing that size, lads would go, mad bastard, look at this cool thing. But there's a, I suppose, a point of diminishing returns when it comes to certain scenarios. You need to stay in your lane. You
Yes.
ain't taking this to the trench convention. Do you know what I mean?
I will
Ain't.
say, okay, I'm gonna say in closing, there was two aspects to the video that I quite liked, and I'm gonna share it on the socials. Don't you worry about that. You're gonna see this machine in action. Number one, I seen a lad that was digging holes for posts with it, and I was very impressed with
With
that.
it?
I can,
Because
yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
augers.
And no, he was just sticking it down, like Evil
Cutting it.
Dead style. He was just ramming this big chainsaw down into the
Oh,
ground.
nice. Oh, I like the vibe of that now. Yeah.
And then he was just sort of schmucking it around a wee bit, and it left a hole, and you can put a post down into it.
Oh, fine job. Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's
I'm
fine.
into that now.
The other thing, Tom, is, did you notice the music in the video?
Yeah. There was no
'Cause it's
need in it at all. Just let the saw run, man. We want to hear that. Don't be playing some weird porno music over the thing. And with this guy with his sunglasses on as well. It was like, come on.
Here's a guy that's like cutting up a cricket pitch or whatever the hell it is, and the music, like, and this thing is like 4 foot long. He has it chained onto himself like Ripley at the end of Alien. Like, he's just like ready to kill, and the music's like blung bling blink blah blung
Yeah.
blung blung blink blah blung. Just this little Teletubbies music.
Now, they
Completely
got
doesn't
that.
suit it at
They
all.
got whoever produced that. They got that. That was a mixer of somebody doing something completely different, because it was the close-ups of the clips that he was clipping onto himself and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we didn't need to see how a man puts together a clip on it, clipping it himself. We just shows how they were not thinking of the customer when they made that. That's why I love the video so much. It was so shite. The machine is cool, but you were like, you've completely missed the point.
Well, it
Anybody who's going to
very is
buy that
like
is not enjoying this video at all.
it very is like Old Painless, the gun from Predator in that regards,
Yeah.
insofar as it's incredibly heavy. Yes, it's very effective, but it weighs a ton. It's gonna run out of ammunition like almost instantaneously, and then you have to carry this $6,000 weapon around with you.
Well, if you're chewing tobacco, which
Well, I
turns
mean,
you
this
into a
is it. If you are a
sexual
sexual
tyrannosaurus.
tyrannosaurus, maybe. So that is this week's This Lad. We'll throw it up
I
in the
love
socials
how
and we
weird
want
of
to
a this
see.
lad that one is. It's such a weird one. Like there's no way to.
And hey, look, not for nothing. If you guys out there spot something like that, send it to us. You never know,
Oh
it might
yeah,
make the podcast. There you go.
100%.
The
Nice one,
living proof of it right
Mihal.
there.
He's a good man, Mihal. Good man. Good meat. Good man.
Yes. But at the same time, with that being said, don't be sending us every wee bit of fucking rubbish that you see.
No, send it on.
There's a
Send it
fine
on.
balance. There's a fine balance here.
Send it
That's
on.
it. Yeah, you got to make sure this is going to punch through the envelope. You know what I mean? Like, don't be saying like, oh, I've seen the shiny hammer. Yeah, we all have.
I know
Put
our
it away,
listeners
Maxwell.
are tuned in. They're tuned in.
Right. That's it. Nearly assassinated a president.
Yeah.
Dug some trenches. I think that's a good week's work for anybody.
Not so bad.
What do you think?
Not
That's
so bad.
decent. Wouldn't you agree?
But
Oh,
we've our geo trencher has hit. I talked about taking that out of the boot of the car, or out of the back of the van, and appearing like an absolute bollocks. I
well,
mean,
yes.
it can happen. But there's a moment where I think we're going to have a row, Jer, because I have now since discovered. Now, there's been a few things pop up on this, and I didn't think it was going as bad as it was. But this Carhartt thing has completely gotten out of hand. And I know you're a city dweller now, and I hate saying it to you, but you are a city dweller now. But you wear Carhartt, don't you?
My attitude is, don't start nothing, won't be nothing.
Well, here's the thing. Okay. So let's get everybody up to speed on this, Tom, before we really rip into it. Okay. 'Cause, we're at odds in this here a little bit.
No, it's a scandal, Jer. It's an absolute scandal.
All right. So Carhartt, Tom, long-time listeners of the Tom and Jerry show might remember that we've spoken about Carhartt before. Carhartt, I hate to say it, Tom, it's not Carhartt it's Carhartt was a workwear brand.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not even close. Not even close. I had a
And-
pair, and I'd say one of the last pairs they made. Maybe they make them now, but the arse burst on them inside a week. Not worth the shit. And I knew then we were in trouble. There was something coming.
There was something wrong there.
And then all of a sudden, hipsters started wearing the shit. Also,
So Carhartt would be like the brand like Snickers workwear, okay? So
Yeah.
the sort of
Dickies for our American listeners. Dickies.
Dickies, yes.
Yeah.
Dickies, Snickers, Caterpillar do good workwear. This kind of rugged apprentice electrician wear,
Yeah.
like and I dare say that there's some of the ladies out there, or indeed gay gentlemen as well, who appreciate a fine young man wearing a pair of Snickers or Dickies or Carhartt workwear. Hence the phrase.
I've
I
never
have
been
heard it
wolf
said,
with.
Tom.
I've never been wolf whistled myself. I have 3 or 4 pairs of I've sidestepped. I've gone full kit wanker. I'm Mr. DeWalt now. DeWalt are the ones I'm with at the minute because they're triple stitch and the arse hasn't burst on them in 2 months.
The expression comes up every now and then, Tom. Snickers, drop Snickers.
Go away.
Yes.
Never. No.
What can we say?
No, never.
Perhaps. And Carhartt would have been, good-looking, rugged workwear like that. Okay.
Yeah,
you
good
knew you
gear.
were going to get your trench dug if the lad rocked up wearing his Carhartt. Well, what is it now, Tom? What is it now?
Now it is. I'll tell you, when I saw Carhartt, I knew it was going down the can. I was in a place called Shoreditch in London.
Okay.
Which is like London is very much it's England in itself, in that it's not England, but what you have is people love identifying as groups. They fucking love it. Heaven forbid you be actually an individual. So you literally walk through divisions, almost like something out of the Hunger Games, where you walk into certain places and you're, oh, we're in the banking now, or we're in the banking area because everybody's in suits and all wearing the same fucking thing. Oh, and then Shoreditch happens. Shoreditch, to give you context, Jerry, is where those two gas bastards
What?
from the north opened up serial killers restaurant where they serve yeah.
Right.
But they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I hope because of the boys are from Belfast, I hope that it was with tongue in cheek. And
I
then they
got, you
couldn't
know
believe
what?
how the shit took
I
off.
can't knock hustle. So
But
tell me this much, Tom. The reason why we are talking about this week is that Carhartt has opened its first ever Dublin shop. And I'm not
yeah,
talking about, oh, if you go out to B&Q, you get yourself a pair of Carhartt work trousers.
no,
And we're talking about a
no,
specific Carhartt shop,
yeah,
which, there was a time if you'd have heard that, Tom, you'd been like, oh, sweet. They must have like really cool workwear in it. What
yeah.
have they now in it, Tom? What have they got in it now in Carhartt, Dublin, which is in Drury Street? And I don't know
Jeez.
every street in Dublin, but I know that that ain't where a lot of workmen will.
I'll tell you now, I'm not joking with you. I walked Drury Street about a month ago to meet a man at the top who we were going to do. I was going to a show. It was him. He was a booker. And I got out of the car, parked it in Drury Street car park. It's that oldie, worldy car park.
Yeah.
And I walked up it and I walked in. I'd gone straight from the building site, got washed, jumped in the car, got there, got out and walked up that street. And the first thing I said to him when I went to the top, I went, some amount of soft fucking bastards down there. And he started roaring, laughing, and he looked down, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing lads with their rolled up little skull cap beanie hats, there, looking like an ironic sailor. You're seeing lads and the fact that it has opened up on that street, it is everything that workwear is not. They have absolutely
Carhartt has sold out.
like if once upon a time when I saw people wearing work like that, I saw a fellow wearing a Carhartt jacket in Shoreditch that time. The same fellow was cycling a fucking penny farthing, Jerry. I'm sorry, Jesus Christ, but he was, I wanted to run his head through the wall when I saw it. And my first thing was stolen valor. That is stolen valor. You have no business wearing that uniform, sir. Do you know what I mean? Like these lads who fake being at war and stuff like that to try and get a free burger. Do you know? And they get shamed on Instagram for stolen valor. This guy, and now we've evolved as far as this. They're just like, had you not enough money in the building game? Had you not enough money in the building game, the forestry game? Do you know what I mean? Where now you've just ventured into hell and now you're making ironic workwear. That's what it is. It's not workwear. It's ironic workwear.
And I'd say the prices are fair ironic as well about it, Tom. But here, let me ask you a question, right?
Mm.
Are we talking, because I haven't been in the shop just yet, nor do I intend to be.
Good man.
Nor will I ever be. Are we talking that this is actual workwear that the hipsters and the youth of the day have just started to wear, or have they just completely thrown any sort of health and safety guidelines out of this? Do the trousers even have a hammer hoop? What are we talking about here?
Nothing. They've nothing. They've no nail
It's just
pockets.
jeans and a shirt, right?
They've no nail pockets. They have no triple stitching. They have no knee pad. Little knee pads pockets down the front. They have nothing. They have, yeah, like you said, no hammer loop. There's nothing on them. They're just culturally appropriating, and Carhartt are absolutely peddling this. It's an absolute scandal. It's right up there with opening a shop with Native American headdress, but making it out of things that don't relate to those lads at all. But it's just, just enough to go, well, we want to appropriate this. I don't know what these lads are trying to achieve by wearing Carhartt, but Carhartt are playing up to them like you couldn't believe. And
paper won't refuse ink, Tom. Now
this is exactly it. Paper won't refuse ink, and I understand if they have investors or they have shareholders who go, we need more money, and there isn't enough out of lads digging trenches. Cause do you know what? Once upon a time, the Toyota Land Cruiser had a 25-year life on every nut and bolt in it because it was made to military grade. And then after a while, around the 2000s, I think, with the Land Cruiser, they decided, they went, what the fuck are we doing? Sure, nobody's coming back in with them. We're selling nothing here. We're making them too good. Let's just push up to where we make the Land Cruisers. It's the same as we make the Corollas and Carinas and all the rest of it. They have 10 years max on their bits and pieces before it starts falling off.
So that's actually quite That's a good analogy for it, Tom. Okay, so what Carhartt have done and are doing, they wear one thing and then they sold out to something completely different. So that's very like your Land Rover Defender, which used to be a rugged farm vehicle
Well,
to
yeah,
get you
yeah.
on and off the land and whatnot, and now it's for getting your
You
kids to and from rugby
Yeah, or
with
when you're
with plastic
when you're
bumpers.
playing for Chelsea, it's a great thing to rock up in.
Yeah.
Like, just you
It
can.
was one thing and now it's another. And
Yeah,
it used to be an affordable thing for the working person, and now it's completely out of the realms of all but the super rich with money to burn. And
yeah.
that's your gripe about it, Tom. That's what we're rowing about right now, right?
That's what we're round about. Could they not have just stayed where they were, stay true to what they were supposed to be, and now they're this. Now that, but I'm also like I said, paper doesn't refuse ink. What are these lads trying to achieve? What are they trying to achieve by wearing this gear? But
Well,
they're sitting outside a trendy bar on Drury Street wearing Carhartt. Like, what?
counterpoint, Tom. Counterpoint.
All right.
Uh, what are your thoughts on Levi Strauss or
I
indeed Wrangler? Because that was heavy, hard wearing denim for cowpokes and working men.
and still is.
And lads going to non-alcos in the Gaeltacht.
I'd
All
still be
right, so
partial to a pair of Wranglers.
the denim jackets of the cowboys and the hard wearing denims that were built to not wear away when you were riding on a horse for 100 miles, where all of the fabrics would wear off, all of a sudden found itself coming off the ranches and coming into the cities and going to bars. And I dare say do you sit there in front of me, Tom, without a pair of jeans in your wardrobe, my man?
I'm wearing a pair of jeans right now, Jar.
Okay, so what have you done that Carhartt have not done?
I was in a fucking trench today, digging
I
fucking
mean, you make
rocks.
a good point, Tom. Yes, that
Jesus
is fair.
Christ, Jerry. Up to my bannocks in muck and rocks in my jeans. So I hear what you're
Okay,
saying,
but
Jar.
Tom,
But they can
what
still
about your
they can still be used
eh,
back the other way, like.
Tom? Every culture has three pairs of jeans. You know what I mean? You've got your working jeans,
Yeah,
you've got your like go to an office jeans, and then you've got your
well,
Sunday jeans that you
yeah,
might wear to a christening or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So your christening jeans and your work jeans are not the same. Maybe your christening jeans might eventually, through time and wear, become your working jeans.
Oh no, they 100% do. They always end up there.
That's the lifespan.
But the thing is, you can trust them to always get there. Like, I don't have a problem with Carhartt selling to lads, but at some point they still got to stand up to what they're supposed to be. Do you know what I mean? If I walked up Drury Street and there was lads sitting outside, drinking whatever, a snazzy coffee or whatever, and there was, I see there's knee pads and there's got nail pockets hanging off them. Like, all right, okay, fair enough. At a drop of a hat, these lads could pick up a geotrencher and start working away somewhere. But when I see like
Your
what
initial
looks
thought would
like
be like, what site is paying you lads enough money to have fancy coffees every
yeah,
single? Yeah.
but like when I see these what Carhartt are producing nowadays, like go look at Carhartt's fashion range. Like you're looking at these absolute bastards wearing this gear. Like you're talking about things that look like an old Nana's house coat, and they just happen to have the fucking Carhartt. Fucking, like
I think what's happened here, Tom. Okay, and I don't think we might not reach consensus. We throw it open to the fine folk of the Tom and Jerry listenership to see what they think. I think the main problem here is that Carhartt have done in 5 years what Wrangler and Levi did in 50. Like it was a long, gradual draw you out of the workplace into the fashion realm, and Carhartt, rather than let that evolution come, they seem to have just hit a switch
yeah, yeah.
and it
But
just flicked from one to the other.
even still, cowboys still wear jeans. Do you know what I mean? Like, and nothing has changed there. Like, there's still jeans to be worn.
And did Carhartt shut down the workwear department?
Well, I tell you one thing, the last player I had, like I said, the arse burst on him in a week. Burst on him in a week. And that's no sign of a good pair of work trousers.
Well, I'm just going to say that might be 50% work trousers and 50% arse, Tom.
No, stolen valor. That's what it is.
Shots fired. Shots
Yeah.
fired. Folks, are you wearing Carhartt while you're listening to the Tom and Jerry show? If so, the feud is over. What else would you like to see appropriated by the fashion industry? Maybe real leaf camo should make an
Don't you
appearance.
dare. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I'm looking at a whole rack of different real tree camo jackets for various uses. Don't you dare. I swear to God. Don't you dare. If real tree camo makes
Let
it.
us know in the comments if you feel as strongly about it as Tom does, or if, like me, you don't know what you wear from one end of the day to the next. Other than that, what about that? That's the Tom and Jerry show. If you want to see that Geo Trencher, if you want a promo code for the Carhartt shop, you ain't going to get it off us, but we will show you a couple of fine examples
Oh,
of
God.
their thing. You can follow us on our social media at Tom and Jerry. Jerry with a G will get you pretty much anywhere. Instagram, Twitter. If we're there, that link will get us to it. And if you want extra BS, you can follow him at Tom_O'Mahony or myself at Tom. No, you're Tom.
You're Jerry
At
McBride.
Jerry McBride. There you go. I always do me first and then you. I am all over the place, Tom. Take him home there. What do you want him to do?
Well, look at whatever platform you're listening to, and you know what to do. Hit subscribe if it's your first time listening. Give it the highest rating you can on whatever platform it is. And if you can leave a message, a rating from other people, that'd be great. That'd be class. Share it. Share it the
There you
best way
go.
you can. The handiest one to do, I suppose, our most active one is Twitter and Instagram. Just screen grab of where you're listening. Tell us, tell us what it is you almost got killed by. Or had a near miss.
Oh, I'd love
by.
to hear what you people almost got killed by. I really would, yeah.
Yeah, because even
As long as it also didn't like really injure you, because I don't.
Oh,
let's
no,
keep
no,
this light-
it's a near
Let's keep this
miss.
lighthearted.
It's a near miss.
Yeah.
We need to know. You go
A near
Jesus.
miss.
and
Ha
and
ha.
like that 20 years down the line, it's only then you realize, good God Almighty, that was
Yeah.
a near miss. So
Yeah, I think people know the tone we're looking for. Yeah,
yeah,
hopefully,
exactly. They get the vibe.
Yeah.
Other than that, sure, my fake tropical blast. I'm into this. You got me into this a while back. It's good.
Oh,
stuff.
the tropical blast from Aldi, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good tech. I like it. Apparently zero sugar.
There you
I'm
go.
not buying that. But at the same time, I'm happy enough.
Deadly. Well, you enjoy that, pal, and we'll see everybody back here next week.
Good luck.